Thanksgiving and headed to Christmas. The last thing that they should be prepared for is a funeral of their children.
Tonight, we continue to learn more about Saturday's shooting near Atlantic Station. Atlanta police say there were 3 shooters and only 1 intended target, but 6 teens were shot in the crossfire. Atlanta police say the shooters were going after 15-year-old Cameron Jackson. He died from his injuries on Monday. 12-year-old Zion Charles was also hit by one of the bullets and died on scene. It is heartbreaking, but also alarming. And you're about to see surveillance video showing the shooters, who appear to be celebrating and all smiles, just minutes after causing pure chaos on Saturday night.
Hey there, besties. Thank you for stopping by. I am MICHONDENYSE. Let's continue to take a look at this foolishness going on in ATL. Shout out to Georgia. Being known for such things like this, it seems to never end. It's not just them. I'm just saying. We spoke about this already. We heard from the mother of 12-year-old Zion. I don't believe we've seen anything, or I haven't, from the 15-year-old's mom. The 15-year-old was the target. These people are all hanging out in a group doing absolutely nothing, walking around, terrorizing, no type of parental responsibility or anything. And what is anyone supposed to do about that? Where's the outrage? Where's Black Lives Matter? Where is anyone down here to say, who's taking control of these people? The whole city has to be suffering from this, because that's exactly what it seems like.
Health Hotline's Cody Alcorn is live along the 17th Street Bridge. And Cody, it seems like those young people had no remorse at all.
Ron, I'll be honest, to see these young men laughing and carrying on is downright disturbing. You're about to see it. And to know that Zion was with them. His mom admitted that he snuck out of a friend's house. He came here to the 17th Street Bridge, Atlantic Station. He met up with his buddies, and then this group left this 12-year-old to die. Just minutes before shots were fired on Saturday night, surveillance video captured this group walking along 17th Street.
A bunch of young people that ain't doing nothing, ain't got nothing to do, wandering around aimlessly. For why come? For why come? Get a job. They should be working at Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, something. They should be home. Aimlessly, a bunch of kids aimlessly walking around, that is a recipe for disaster. Now, allegedly, Zion, I think his name is, snuck out. It doesn't matter whether he snuck out or not. The mother already admitted that he was a problem, and she tried to get the police to help her with her kid. Instead of reaching out to an uncle, a grandfather, a father, she reaches out to the police, and now they want to blame the police because her son is deceased. He snuck out. These people know what they're doing. And just like these newscasters are saying, they have no remorse whatsoever. So basically, we're dealing with terrorists. It's no different than dealing with the people who came and did 9/11. Willing to die. They do not care. So what are you supposed to do with that? People don't want to parent their kids. They're out here doing whatever they want. They think they're grown. I guess they don't care that they only living until 12, 13, 14, 15, or they get caught and they go to jail for the rest of their lives. If you ain't going to parent your kid, what the heck is the rest of us supposed to do?
APD says the young man with the black and gold hoodie is one of the shooters. The teen in all yellow at the bottom right is 12-year-old Zion Charles, who will soon be gunned down. Walking just feet behind him, APD says, is a second shooter. You see him again on a different camera. Minutes later, APD says 15-year-old Cameron Jackson rolls by on a scooter.
Somebody else's name, they say, that's Cameron, that's our position. That's when shots rang out.
Chaos followed. 17th Street was locked down, but the shooters managed to get over to the Arts Center MARTA station across 85. Cameras picked up the group. You see the suspect in the blue hoodie walking down the stairs, followed by the young man in the yellow and black hoodie. And as they wait for the train,
they also seem to be celebrating, making gestures and talking about the shooting.
All smile.
Remember all this once you catch them, because here's the other thing, as always, as usual, which is why I say these people are terrorists. They do not care. They're just being caught seconds later. People know who they are seconds later. Nobody thinks about all the cameras. I mean, they're in one of I don't know what this place is, but if it's a place where there's trains and public transportation, the odds are there's cameras. Plus, they're in this outside mall place, cameras. About to go someplace where there's cameras. They've already been identified, basically. Pretty sure they know who this is. Now all they got to do is find him and pick him up. And then his mother will be out there alone, unless Auntie is there and Granny, of course, saying, I don't know how this happened. Oh my God, what happened? It's not fair. It's not right. It's the police's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's Jermaine's fault. It's everyone's fault except for this kid right here. And all these minors. I'm tired of these officials, these legal people not holding their parents accountable. They should be held accountable, because until you make these people be responsible for their minor children that are terrorizing the rest of the adults in these cities, why does anyone think that any of this is going to change? I don't understand why this has got to be rocket science. I don't get it.
And handshakes, but what you don't see is their buddy Zion. APD says he was lying along 17th Street taking his last breaths. But his group, who his mom says he's...
Didn't even, I mean, I don't know who shot that little boy, okay, first of all. But if they was just walking together, all this chaos happens, they just calmly walk away. They can't even stop and stay with him. You know, come on, make it, Zion, or give him any comfort or anything. This is what we're dealing with, y'all. Okay. And then shout out to the white people. They sitting up here saying these animals. I see it in the comments. And what can you say? What would you call it? Seriously. I mean, until someone decides that they want to get a hold of their own damn kids, but, you know, having, a father figure in their life, it's always his fault. Blame the man. I know that's going to come. Instead of sitting around and deciding that you're going to have a nuclear family, a husband, you're going to take care of who it is that you have children with, not any old body based off of swag, someone that has something to offer that's going somewhere, being an appropriate type of woman there, you would attract that type of person. So then maybe you wouldn't create these gremlins who are now out here terrorizing the whole city. And then when something like this happens, everyone's supposed to just give up their money for the GoFundMe, cry, say, oh, it's a shame. Nah, that's not what we doing. We tired of this. We are tired of your kids out here terrorizing the whole world because they don't have anything to do because their parents aren't parenting them. There is a certain amount of time where kids are responsible for what they do. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't disagree. But if you're out here with guns and you're out here running with a gang, all that go out the window. Okay. We want to sit up here and run around with gangs and act like they don't know. These people know. Come on now, stop. Don't play us for stupid.
Snuck out to meet up with continued on.
During the train ride, they antagonized different customers. They flashed gang signs.
Take one more good look. While APD says this guy is the primary shooter, this teen also opened fire and say they believe the third shooter is among the group. And again, to know the chaos and the fear that these teens put into so many people right here on the 17th Street, and then to watch them act as if nothing happened is alarming. And it really makes you question, is a curfew really going to stop these teens and gangs from committing more violence?
No, it's not, which is why you can institute it. But until you start fining parents and sending them to jail along with their kids, whatever their kid did, they go down for the rest. They go down for the same. Do that a couple times. I bet you some things will change then. This curfew don't make no difference. People who are breaking the law don't care about laws. You think they care about curfews? Come on now, y'all.
That is a really good question there, Cody. I know that you haven't been here that long. However, you always have your ear to the ground. Speaking with community members, what are they saying about this shooting? Any planned response?
Well, as you know, they want change. They say it has to happen. They say we are failing these young men and women. In fact, we know there is going to be a Peace in the Streets anti-violence walk right here on 17th Street Friday night. It's expected to start around 7 o'clock. It'll start at Atlantic Station and go down 17th Street. So again, we'll have much more on that at 11alive.com. And of course, we'll be out here Friday night for, again, this Peace in the Streets anti-violence walk scheduled for 7 p.m. here at Atlantic Station, Ron.
Because those have worked so well in all these other cities and all these other locations. It's just a show. It's a, oh, we hear you. It means nothing, in my opinion, just my 2 cents. Because half of the people who did this probably show up, or people who know who did it, they're going to show up. They're going to be right there with you. Yeah, we agree. Yeah. And then they're going to turn around later on that night and do what they do. Curfew or no curfew.
Okay. Cody Alcorn for us tonight. By the way, the family of Zion Charles is speaking exclusively to 11 Alive about what happened that night and the lingering questions they still have. One of the main concerns is how the situation was handled after the crowd of kids was kicked out of Atlantic Station and the shooting that took place shortly thereafter.
It hurts to know that my sister tried and lost her child, but she's out even at the time that she's grieving to try to help somebody else.
This rash of violence has reached a fever pitch in the city.
The November 26th mass shooting next to Atlantic Station ended with 6 teenagers shot, including a 12 and 15-year-old who died.
All of us are impacted when the bloods of our children are running down the streets of this city.
The recent shooting prompting a major call for action, but as attorney Drew Bill explains,
it is not a new phenomenon. We're just seeing the last 10 years of growth. That's why we're seeing it and saying, God, this is really bad. Well, it's been growing like a weed for 10 years.
What?
Thanks, Andrew, for letting them know that. I already knew. I don't understand, I mean, not for ATL, of course, but just period, point blank. Because no one, again, I don't know. Somebody let me know. Are these the people that were produced from the crack era? Like, wasn't crack in the 80s? Well, not 80s maybe, in 90s. When did New Jack City come out? 80s, 89, 90 or so. So if you had kids, they would have been born. I'm not good at math. Y'all let me know. Who are these kids? Who are these kids? Because it's not, you can't blame Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi for these kids. They came from somebody else.
Well, a citywide curfew is being considered.
Short-term solutions aren't really the answer. This is a systemic problem.
It's not a long-term
Oh, Lord. Is it systemic racism?
solution.
I think that we've reached critical mass, which is why all of us are going to have to get involved.
Nah, Rev. Call them parents to get involved, Rev. I'm sorry to tell you, child. Get Ben, Black Lives Matter, Sean King. Get all them down there. Get them all down there, child.
Everyone agrees the root of the problem is the lack of a foundation among a lot of our youth.
Well, oftentimes this kind of activity comes from socioeconomic conditions, poverty. And so access to resources, access to facilities to engage people so that they're looking at something other than violence.
A problem not unique to Metro Atlanta.
I think we're seeing the same kind of issues in other cities, not one city, one culture, one group. It's everywhere.
So in other words, the blacks are out of control, Andrew. I'll say it for you. You Negroes are out of control. You Negroes need to get it together. You Negroes need to parent your kids. You Negroes better get their fathers, get married, do something that makes sense. Because all your kids are suffering the brunt of all of this and the rest of the world because your kids don't give a damn about you, them, and they definitely don't give a damn about us.
We can solve this in this city, and there are some contributing factors that are undermining the wellness of our children. We must address those matters.
Cameron Jackson's mother says this violence affects everyone, no matter your race, geographical area, or socioeconomic status.
You're right, because the rest of us are suffering from what your kids is doing. Not necessarily this kid. We don't know. I don't know about Cameron. That's the 15-year-old. So let's see what we learn from here, child.
Cameron Jackson was homeschooled. His mother says he loved cooking and science. His boxing coach said he did so well at that sport that he had dreams of taking him to the Olympics in 2024. But now, none of that matters.
This is not about Cameron. This is not about that other little kid. This is about all of our children.
Tiffany Smith says we are losing a generation. Atlanta police say her 15-year-old son, Cameron Jackson, was targeted in a shooting involving young people on the 17th Street Bridge near Atlantic Station Saturday.
Based off of what we heard when they said, there he is, that's Cameron, it's possible that that is true. So Cameron seems, according to what they're saying, he was a good boy. He wasn't no troublemaker. He was homeschooled, this, that, and the third. If he's great, and I'm just asking the question, y'all, I don't know nothing. I'm just going by these news reports. If Cameron is so good and he's doing everything, why is he hanging out with this element? The pastor said, and Andrew, the lawyer, I guess he is, said it's socioeconomic issues, systemic issues. And then you come and you see that this is a different case over here with Cameron, according to what mom is saying at this news conference. So why is Cameron hanging out with the lower socioeconomic status persons, I shall call it?
Both Cameron and 12-year-old Zion Charles died as a result of the weekend shooting.
Listening to the other mother speak about not having the resources. You know, in my situation, we had all the resources. But the one thing that we were unable to deal with was the community, the environment, the city.
Cameron loved.
Well, thank you, Mom, for letting us know what's what. But there was a lore there. There clearly was a lore there. And people don't realize that at certain ages, and I'm not blaming Mom here at all. I'm just saying your kids will get influenced by others. Maybe he wanted a dangerous life. Maybe they was cool to him, all those different things. At the same time, it sounded like he was just riding by, but they targeted him for some reason, allegedly. Only based off of what we heard on these newscasts. It's all I got. I ain't got nothing else. I don't live there. But I'm just going by what we hear here. Shout out to the mom, though.
Cooking, science, and boxing. His boxing coach said he had dreams of taking him to the Olympics.
We had dreams and goals of going to the Olympics 2024 in Paris. It's like they took my dream.
Atlanta police released surveillance video of a group of young men they believe know something about the shooting. They say the person in a yellow and black hoodie, along with the person with a blue hoodie with writing on it, were the shooters. Police initially said the shooting was gang-related. The Jackson family says Cameron was not in a gang.
He was very disciplined. He had a very hard drive, man. He was very gentle. I never heard him say a curse word. He was very respectful, loving.
Cameron's family says it is important for Metro Atlanta to understand this shooting could have involved anyone.
We got children that are dying. We're losing our future. And any one of you could have been walking with your husbands, with your wives at Atlantic Station, and you could have caught a bullet in the back of your head.
Atlanta police are still looking for the...
So, ma'am, we know that. And that's why it's a problem for the rest of us, because we don't want to be a product of these gremlins' aggressions or their entertainment. Because for me, in my opinion, it's just entertainment for them. It means nothing. That's why they can go back on the train, start terrorizing other people, slap hands, do gang signs, sing a song, and do a dance. They don't give one damn. So we know what it is. The problem is that who's going to get control of their kids is the problem. You know, it sounds like based off of what they said that Cameron was this and Cameron was that, and I'm not going to refute that. The only question that I have, you got the boxing coach there. Where's his father? I mean, maybe he's there and I don't know it, but you know, I'm just going by what we see. And again, maybe he was targeted because again, they said he was going by on a scooter. Maybe they didn't like the fact that he had means. And they, you know, a lot of these people that don't have means, instead of going and getting some, instead of being taught how to do it, instead of being, you know, lifting themselves up and doing something, they just take and steal and take other people down because they don't care. That's what they know. That's what they've been taught. That's what they see. I get it. But people want to keep having kids, bringing them into that environment. And then when things like this happen, everybody got to pitch in. Everybody got to do something about it. It's the police's fault. It's somebody else's fault. You got to help. We going to have a rally. We going to do this. This is what you do. Hold the parents accountable. When you figure out who it is, hold the parents accountable. And when a few parents start to see, oh, Junior better get it together, then maybe they will think twice before having Junior. And then once Junior starts to act like a jackass. So we've seen from beginning to end for the most part in the last couple of days. And this is where we are. So I will leave it at this. I've said it before. I will say it again. Until you start holding parents accountable, none of this will change. You're dealing with terrorists at the end of the day. And terrorists don't care. If they do not care about themselves, they do not care about their mothers, then they will not care about the rest of us. So yes, it's a problem from that perspective, but don't look to me to help y'all do nothing with your own kids. If you are grown enough to have these daggone kids, parent them properly. I'm sorry, I cannot have any empathy and sympathy for people who go around terrorizing people. So God forbid, I'm gonna go ahead and say, God forbid if the police run down on Mr. Black and White, I'm sorry, black and yellow, and Mr. Blue, because that's the clothes that they are referencing, and something goes wrong, I don't want to hear it from anyone. Because your kids should be in your possession. They should be in your face, and you should have a little bit more control over them and have taught them better than to be out here terrorizing the daggone city. That's what they're doing. That's it. That's all. If you made it this far, I do appreciate you. Please consider subscribing. I will see you all in the next one.